Welcome to Zidam Astrology. Join me on this journey for your tarot and patra readings, your birth charts inclusive of chakras, crystals, and runes. Sign up, share, and subscribe. Alrighty then, Fire Trine. Here we go for the period June 26th to July 9th, 2022 for your signs. And just to recall, the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And the first card that we have here is the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is telling you what is your current situation. What is the situation that you are currently facing? And it could be whether it's your goal, it's your finances, your career, and your relationship. But usually with wands is something about a physical something. And this tells you that you are currently at a point where you have unfinished projects. You have personal freedom because you are the Knight of Wands to travel. You hate restrictions and boundaries of what is being imposed on you right now. But you don't have the follow through that you want to do to complete those projects, so that you have all the energy, you have all the activity that you want to do, you have the strategies and the goals, but something is just not happening. And if it's happening, it's because you start off with a zest of energy and you can't finish it, you can't complete whatever it is. But you know, the Knight of Wands is courageous, charming, a little bit of a free spirit, but also hot-tempered and rebellious. So is that your situation right now? Is that how you're feeling, that you just want to chuck everything and you don't want to do anything? You want to do what you want to go where you want and when you want, and you don't care about things that you have to do, that you have a responsibility for? Is it that you're feeling that you had too much responsibilities in the past or currently, and that you just need to have a free time, to be a free spirit? Is that how you're feeling right now? The Knight of Wands symbolism is quite straightforward when it appears in a reading. It tells you too that it's a great time to get away and to travel. And you are so full of life that you want to move, but some things are just holding you back. And you're ready to get things done, you're adventurous, you want to do fun things, because that is where you are now. There's never a dull moment with you, or you don't want it to be a dull moment. But you want to impress others with your knowledge and your skill, and you're probably planning to move to another place of residence. Is it that you are migrating? Is it that you are changing homes? What it is you want to do. Is it that you have so many things to do in moving that you can't complete everything? Is that how you're feeling right now? But this is the situation that you find yourself in, Fire Trine. And what led you to this position, Fire Trine? What caused this problem? What is the heart of the situation? Your desires, your hopes, your fears. And the heart of the situation came from the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is just that. You are uncertain that you are making the right decision. Your perspective may be skewed. You're contemplating on whether you make the right decision. You are kind of indecisive at this point in time. You are waiting. You know that you might have to make a sacrifice to have all this action and to go on this journey and to move residence, but you are contemplating if that is the correct thing for you to do. And the Hanged Man understands that his position is in the balance. He has to make a sacrifice to progress forward, whether it's repentance for past wrongdoings or a calculated step backward to see or surge forward. He spends his time he probably wasting his time a little bit, and he wants to be going forward, but he's looking at a new perspective because he's upside down. He's not looking at it straightforward, because looking at it straightforward gives him a picture that he probably doesn't want, to see. So your indecisiveness has brought you to this point, Fire Trine. You know, where there are others that do not understand the need to sacrifice, but you see differently because you are upside down. You are looking at things differently. You have that rope in your hand with your foot tied up there, and all you have to do is let go of that rope. Do you want to do that? You know, this is a natural, or supposed to be a natural course of action for you as you walk the path alone. You see, there's nobody around you in the Hanged Man. You are there and you have to contemplate on yourself, about your need, about whether you are suspending your need or getting through with your need, or taking a decision to meet that need of travel, that need of moving, that need of doing something and not just hanging around. You know, but it may very well be a period of indecision that you are currently facing, that you can't take that forward movement. You know, this means that you probably didn't implement things properly that can be finished, because you remember the Knight of Wands is unfinished business, unfinished projects. So being the Hanged Man, this is what brought you to that. You know, and what were the internal or external factors that you should consider that, you know, that probably will give you the insight whether to make that decision or not. And it comes from the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is really about feeling let down, disappointment, sadness, loss, grief. You have 5 cups there, 3 in front of you that are spilt. They probably are empty, whether it's resources or emotions or your physical strength. But if you look at the card, you will see that there are 2 cups in the back that are standing upright. So, you know, the 5 of Cups symbolizes disappointment and feelings that come with that disappointment. But it also tells you that not everything has been lost. You know, you are feeling unhappy that a certain situation hasn't really turned out the way that you hoped it would. But instead of moving towards a more positive perspective, you are dwelling in the past. You are inducing feelings of self-pity and regret. And the cups are all about water. It's all about emotion. So it's really your emotions and not your resources that you are unhappy about. This feeling of, you know, losing something, and my goodness, I worked so hard and I did so well, and look what these people did to me, and you know, they don't want to know the truth, and why am I feeling sad? So it's just a feeling. You haven't lost anything in physically, you haven't lost anything materially. It's all about your emotions. You know, cup shows that you have certain issues, and letting go of things in the past is an issue for you. You know, what is more, it also shows that you might be unwilling to learn from mistakes that you have already committed, and you just wanted to shove it under the rug, as it were, so that you don't want to deal with things head on. You don't want to be confrontational. You don't want to understand that you made mistakes, and these are the consequences. That, you know, your indecisiveness has probably brought you to that decision where you have to move on alone, or where you have to move with people to surround you and gain that kind of empathy and equity and resources that will make you a better person or a happier person in the future. So that is what the Five of Cups is all about. You have made mistakes, but it hasn't brought you down physically or materially. It's just emotionally that you are feeling regret, you are feeling sorry. And what is the advice that the guides are telling you? And it comes from the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is the solution, is the timing. You know, what to leave in the past, what to achieve in the future, and what you have to let go. And the Ace of Swords tells you about communication, 2 sides. You know, you have to deal with your head, not your heart, because the sword is all about intellect, sharpness, breakthroughs, justice, new plans. And the Ace of Swords often represent a new attitude. So the Ace of Swords is telling you the timing, what is the solution, and you have to get a new attitude. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, you have to get out of the funk, and it's telling you that this is going to happen within weeks for you. Probably something within the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, will tell you that, look, this is a new opportunity. I'm going to need to think with my head, not my heart. That Five of Cups with my character right now, where the advice from the external and internally, I'm feeling emotional about what people are saying about me. I'm feeling emotional about what I'm thinking about myself. The Ace of Swords is telling you, whatever the situation is, it will call on you to use your reason and your approach in a logical manner, so that the indecisiveness of the Hanged Man, keeping back the Knight of Wands and moving forward, within weeks you are going to have to make a decision. You have to get over your emotional baggage. And well, depending on you, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you may find this very easy or very difficult to do, but mental sharpness and focused concentration is necessary. You have to listen to both the external and the internal arguments before you make a decision. You have to find out if this is really for you. Can you really make that move? Can you afford to make that move? Do you like where you are going? Is it that you are going to be happier where you want to move or travel to? The Ace of Swords can signal a breakthrough, as the sword cuts through trivial issues to reach a kind of a balanced solution for both sides, for you internally and externally. So within weeks, within weeks you will probably look forward to that solution, look forward to that opportunity, that new plan. But right now, at the beginning of this period, June 26th to July 9th, you're going to feel a little down. You're going to feel a little emotional. You're going to feel self-pity, but we always say the pen is mightier than the swords, so that to avoid misunderstandings and arguments, or even legal action in the future, make sure to get everything in writing before agreeing to anything. So this is what is happening with you. Let us see what is the outcome, what is the answer, what is the lesson, the advice, the resourcefulness that you are going to get. And this is coming from the Seven of Swords, and again it's telling you that you are going to adapt, you are going to have strategies. It's going to be daring behavior, but there can be some danger. You are carrying Five of the Swords and leaving two on the ground, because you need to do something that requires you to be brave, requires you to be courageous. And if it is that you have to move or not move, if you have to travel or not travel, then the Seven of Swords is telling you that at the end of the day, you have to be courageous. You have to be brave, because the logic and the reason will bring you adaptability, but you have to make that decision as to whether you want to take the approach you want to take. Find another way to get what you want, but it might involve taking risk or being daring in your approach to a situation or a person. You may be unsure as to whether you have what it takes, but you must do what is necessary, because the Ace of Swords is telling you that you have to take that decision, because it's new beginnings. The Seven of Swords tells you that you have to be courageous and brave in taking that decision, but you have to use your logic and reason, because it is what is good for you. Do you leave some of your assets behind with the swords? Do you leave something, a person behind, when you are making that journey? Because you can't carry it all. You can't carry it all. And the Seven of Swords, you must be focused, resourceful, flexible, because this is what the Seven of Swords want you to do. And it can also suggest that now may not be the best time to share what you know with others, or give too much information away. Hold a little bit of secret. You're giving them those two swords, you're giving them information, you're telling them a little bit about where you're going and why, but you have five swords in your hand. Keep those reasons to yourself. Rely on yourself right now, and be as self-sufficient as you can. If you have a secret, the less people know, the better, because what you can say or do may be misconstrued or misinterpreted or leaked to the wrong person or organization or corporation, that you can, there's a possibility that you can be betrayed, and you might be on the receiving end of manipulation and deceit. So that keep your nose out of others' business, look after yourself, understand that you are going to make moves. You are pretty indecisive, you are emotional about some things in your life, but new plans and beginnings are coming to you within the weeks. Open your eyes and mind and observe closely what is going on around you, who is involved, before you take that decision. So this is you, fire trine concept, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Okay, fire trine, as always, Bhagwan's blessings has brought me to the end of this video for the period June 26th to July 9th. I have indicated to you in my last period that I have a tutorial slide after this for you to view as to why I do what I do at Zidam Astrology, why I deal with the trines concept rather than individual horoscopes for the zodiac. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for staying with me. I ask that you share, you sign up, you subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, and may Bhagwan bless you and make your dreams positive and safe. Thank you so much. Okay, this is your tutorial. As I mentioned to you in this video, that I'm going to leave a tutorial so that you can see why I have formulated the trine concept to read horoscopes at Zidam Astrology rather than read individual signs from Aries to Pisces for you. And I've found in my research and in my reading and from my teachings that there are commonalities between the tarot and the Kundali, which is your birth chart in Vedic astrology. So that these are the commonalities that have aligned together, that have created a method that will utilize the tarot and Vedic astrology to read and analyze for you in the trine concept. And this is a Kundali or birth chart taken randomly on somebody born on April 21st, 2022 at 6 a.m. And this person's birth chart or natal placements are here for you to see that these are the placement. This is the fate of this person. This is the ascendant or lagna, as we say in Vedic astrology, where we say this is the first house of the 12 houses in the zodiac sign. So wherever the ascendant or lagna falls is where we denote in Vedic astrology your first house. And in this particular chart we go clockwise from Aries to Pisces so that we'll know where your first to 12th house falls. So your first house is Aries, your 12th house will be Jupiter. And each house in Vedic astrology denotes something. It denotes your wealth, your family, your siblings, your relatives, your children, your marriage, your father, your mother, your work, your career, your community, your luck, your spirituality, your illnesses, whether it's chronic or routine, how you will earn your money, how you will lose your money, a multiplicity of things. And each of these houses has its significations that we read for you in Vedic astrology. So this is your natal chart. This is your fate. You cannot change the positioning of these planets in your Kundali, because this is the placement of the planets when you were born, the time you were born, and the place you were born. However, you cannot change fate, but you can change destiny. And destiny comes from the transit of the planets, because each of these planets, they move from one sign to the next during particular periods, and you can change your destiny through your freedom of expression and will, through your ambition, through your courage, so that you can change destiny. You can't change fate. And the transit of planets will give you a chance to change your destiny. And transits, planets move, as we see here, Saturn every 2.5 years, and so on and so forth. This is how planets move from one sign to the next. Neptune takes 14 years to move from one sign to the next. Mercury takes 1 month. Sun takes 1 month. And you will see these are the 12 planets that I deal with at Zedam Astrology, so that they are the ones that I look at and how they move. And every placement of a planet in a particular sign says something, does something, has an aspect on your natal planet, and it throws out potential or a pathway for you to understand what can be happening. You know, it is the natal chart is a map of what the sky was like on the day for us to know ourselves and to better understand the types of energy we have available for each moment and situation in life. And because of the transits where destiny can be changed, we can say that this placement is not decisive, but it shows options and it marks pathways in which we can utilize to make choices during our lifetime. And then we have the source code of astrology, and that FEAW is basically fire, earth, air, and water. Those are the trines that I look at, and the 4 elements are the source code of astrology, and they are the blueprint of your soul. You know, you become the architect of your destiny by using this blueprint of our soul. And the blueprint of our soul, one of the trines that I use, because it's the foundation, you know, one of the trines that I use is the Dharma Trikona. And the Dharma trine tells you that, you know, this is the trine that keeps us on the soul's mission, the accumulated merit and the manifestation of past karma. And this 159 denotes the houses 1, 5, and 9. And as you see, we have fire, earth, air, and water trines. So this is the source code of astrology. And tradition holds that religious duty, your dharma, is the primary aim of human life. Since it is the foundation which you develop your wisdom and your discretion to pursue wealth, which is artha, which is another trine, happiness, karma, which is a third trine, and we pursue these wealth and happiness from the wisdom we get from dharma, so that we will not compromise our chances of liberation, which is moksha, which is the 4th trine. But I use the 1st trine because it is the foundation, it is the primary aim of your birth on this earth. And Hinduism describes the Dharma trine as the natural universal laws whose observance enables us to be contented and happy and to save ourselves from degradation and suffering. So that Dharma is the moral law combined with spiritual discipline that guides our life. You know, and this is what the Dharma trine is. And I'm just going to pull up another version of the zodiac circle, the 12 signs, and I'll just give you an example so that this random Kundalini or birth chart gives you Aries as the ascendant. And with Aries as the ascendant, that will be the 1st house. The 1st house will be Aries, the 5th house will be Leo, and the 9th house will be Sagittarius. And this is the trine. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius is the fire trine. And with the fire trine, even if your first bhava is Leo, then Leo will be your 1st house, Sagittarius will be your 5th, and Aries will be your 9th. You will still remain in that trine if your ascendant moves from Aries to Leo or Sagittarius. And remember, your ascendant moves every 2.5 hours every day from one zodiac sign to our next in Vedic astrology. And then we have the earth trine, and the earth trine can begin with Taurus. And if it begins with Taurus, then you would have as your fifth house, you will have Virgo as your ninth house, you will have Capricorn, and this is your earth trine. Then your air trine will be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. That is your air trine. And obviously your water trine will then be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, so that all your signs are taken care of there, as you see. So these are the trines. And why I do the horoscope in trines is because Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, when one is activated, each of these are activated because they are in a trine. They are in a dharma trine, a dharma, where your duty, where your vision, where your wisdom are all created for you to understand that first house is you are born, then fifth house is your children, and the ninth house is your father. So you get the circle of evolution. Your father produces you with your mother. Your mother helps you throughout your life. When you are an adult, then you produce children. And that is where you get this circle of evolution, so that the Dharma trine here is what connects each of these three signs in the zodiac. And then we have the tarot deck. And the tarot deck, as we know it, has wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. And you will see that the wands is with fire, the pentacles is earth, and swords are air, and cups are water. So that here now we have the commonality between the tarot deck and the zodiac or astrology, the source code of astrology. So that this is what I find with the commonalities. There are so many other things that I can speak about, but this is the basic. This is the basic. And if we have to talk about, a tarot spread, that my go-to tarot spread is the Tetractys. And the Tetractys tarot spread comes from that Greek philosopher Pythagoras, who threw out for us the Pythagoras theorem. And he can be viewed as a Vedic Brahmin, because three of the things he did or believed in was that he wore white exclusively, he was a vegetarian, and he believed in reincarnation. And his theorem existed in the Sanskrit texts in India. So that there we have the commonality again. And then even so, the tarot deck, the fire is clubs, pentacles is diamonds, swords is aligned to spades, and cups is aligned to hearts. So this is where we get the commonalities. This is where I can utilize a union of tarot and Vedic astrology to bring you a complex issue, but a different take on reading your birth chart, because you cannot live by yourself, you weren't born by yourself, and you can't grow up by yourself. There is a community, and that community brings the trine, so that you feel comfortable if you are in the fire trine with people from Leo and Sagittarius if you were born in Aries. Likewise, it goes so for the other trines. So this is my research, this is my method that I use, and I hope I was clear, complete, and concise. I ask that you share, sign up, and subscribe, review my videos, look at my transit series, and I will join you next time. Thank you so much.